Packer Nation morning, guys and dolls. It is Wednesday, and we're talking some cornerback action free agency today. Asking the question, what is the Packers' ideal offseason? Frankly, as a Packer fan, most of our off seasons are not ideal. We usually have a pretty good job in the draft. Last year we got Jared Cook. But feel free to get on. Let me know who you are and where you're coming at me from. We'll do a little Packer Nation roll call as we get the show started this morning. Talking about free agency, March 10th, I think, the legal tampering period begins. It's coming very, very fast. And it's one of those topics that is on the mind of Packer Nation because there is the expectation this season. It tends to be this way, but there's the expectation that we're going to do a little bit more in free agency this year. Sean is here. Eric is here from Lake Elmo, Minnesota. Good to see you, Eric. And Dimitri is here as well, says Go Pack Go. Yeah. So what is your ideal offseason for the Green Bay Packers? We got Scott from Chippewa Falls. Chippewa Falls, Scott, is where I moved from when I came down here to Tennessee. Roger from La Crosse, my mom's hometown. Robert is here from Texas. Way to go. Jeff is here from Colorado Springs. I've been there, a beautiful town. I missed one. Randy is here from California. Tyron is here as well. Good to see you guys. Billy says it would be ideal if we could deny that Brady has more Super Bowls. I'd prefer to have an ideal offseason where we start to change that fact. Ryan is here. Matthew, Tim, Tammy, Jared Dixon is on. Just popping on in to say good day. G'day there, Jared from Australia. Sean is here. Sean, yeah, I did. I got to see the Packers-Seahawks game. And here's the deal, Sean. Okay, we brought Sherm the creepy caddy. He's our good luck charm. He's got the knuckle bump fist. We knuckle bump Sherm. That's the luck charm, right? We brought him all the way up there. I grew out my beard. We won that game. And the Texans game was the beginning maybe of the run, but the Seattle Seahawks game was the beginning of really believing this team could go a long way. It was unbelievable. So then I couldn't shave my beard off the entire rest of the season, and I had to wait until after we finally lost in the NFC Championship game. LB is here, Russ is here, Cyrus is here from Alaska, from AK. It's probably a little chillier. It was a little bit of snow, sleet mix coming down today, but probably not as cold as Alaska, I'm sure. Gary is here. Says hi to Packer Nation. Ryan is saying move Clay back to the middle. All right, guys, I have a question. And give me a thumbs up if you, for yes, angry face for no, okay? I've been toying with this idea that it's time to trade Clay Matthews or cut Clay Matthews. I think he counts like $11 million against the cap. It's a ton of money. There was a story that went out with the possibility that we'd let Randall Cobb go, for crying out loud. Is Clay Matthews worth the money? We've got some thumbs up rolling across. If we could get some value out of him, that would be one thing. My ideal offseason is sort of coming together for me, but I am a proponent of Clay. I'm not an anti-Clay Matthews guy, but this year was a down year, without a doubt. So you got to ask yourself how much of that was due to the fact that he was injured most of the year. But when you ask yourself that, then your next question is, he's injured every year. It seems like he's injured and misses a few games every single year. That's kind of part of the package you get with Clay Matthews. So is there someone out there that we could get that would, or maybe you trade for a draft pick, move up in the draft. I don't know. Yeah, Becky, down year for the whole team. I don't think it was a down year. I mean, I think it was an injury-riddled year, but we went to the NFC Championship game. So there is the line in Packer Nation where if we don't go to the Super Bowl, it's a down year. So I understand that. And dang, did I want to go. However, I know there were, 28 teams that would have loved to have our kind of down year. Stefan says, keep Clay. LB says, restructure his contract. Okay, so here's my thoughts. All right, guys? If I go to two players this offseason, can anybody guess what the other one? The first one is Clay Matthews. Anybody guess what the other one would be that I would talk to this year about restructuring their contract. And Dusty, we'll get to Peppers in a minute. The other one is Aaron Rodgers, okay? I would talk to Aaron Rodgers about some kind of stretch out a deal, maybe thin the money out just a hair. I haven't looked into what Tom Brady has done. He's done it a couple of times, I'm sure. Talk to Aaron Rodgers, just see if we can come to some agreement where he makes his money, but if he's planning to stay for a long time, we're able to thin that out per year a little bit and put some cash in the bank. Tim is here, says good morning to Packer Nation. And then ask Clay Matthews. Now, if Clay Matthews isn't willing to restructure, I say let him go. I say we've got a draft. Here's the deal, guys. Some of these things are falling in place for us. As far as having leverage, okay? We can probably get Eddie Lacy for cheap on a 1-year prove-it deal, I'm hoping, because he doesn't have any leverage. We can probably get TJ Lang cheaper than we normally would have. We'll see about that one. He's a Pro Bowler. But we don't necessarily need Julius Peppers in the picture. And if Clay Matthews isn't willing to restructure his contract, look at where this draft is strong. This draft is strong right where we're weak, guys. We got edge rushers coming out the yin-yang, and we got cornerbacks in the draft. Nicholas says no on Lacy. He's on the other side of the fence for me. I want Lacy back. I thought Lacy was a beast in that Cowboys game. And so, so there's argumentation on both sides as far as Eddie Lacy. Some people think he's just going to be hurt. Because it's somewhat the same argument as Clay Matthews. But if Clay Matthews isn't willing to deal or willing to help us a little bit, I say we could move forward. And Bryce is mentioning that takes a big piece of our defense out, because you have to ask yourself how much of Perry's success had to do with Matthews getting double teamed. Now, Julius, on the other hand, I think, and I hate to say it because I love Julius Peppers, but I think, and I'm agreeing with you, LB, I don't think there's any reason. I don't think we need to re-sign Julius Peppers. The thing I was looking for out of Julius Peppers was they kept him on a pitch count all season long. Now, we needed him earlier than the team expected, but it just didn't seem like going into the playoffs he had anything in his tank. And I was one of the guys that said, you watch, Julius Peppers is going to come on when it really matters. He knows how to do that. I didn't see it happen. And Circle Real Small says height is a priority. We talked about that on Monday. Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely don't need, we don't need a new offensive line. What we need to do is shore up the offensive line we have. We need to get Lang back. We need to talk to J.C. Treader very seriously. These two guys are going to be important for our offensive line. It'd be great if we can't keep them, if we could get some value out of these guys. And that's the thing in particular with Clay Matthews right now. And I know a lot of people would completely disagree with me. And I want Clay Matthews to get another Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, without a doubt. But here's the thing. This is what I've been thinking. You know, you guys, we've got some cap space. We've got like around that $40 million, I think now with Starks. Shields gone. I think it went up about 10, 11 million because of that. But here's the thing. Ted Thompson is going to go out. If he signs any free agents, he is going to sign free agents while keeping us like 20 million under the cap, I'm afraid. He's going to continue to keep that space. He's going to get rid of a bunch of guys just so that he can sign another second-tier free agent. That's my fear. Now, ideally, and Otis, I'm kind of, you know, I had someone said, and we had this discussion with Clay Matthews as outside or inside linebacker. And frankly, Clay Matthews was not a dominant outside linebacker in a 3-4 system. And we'll see what happens. He actually was a Pro Bowler at the inside position. Didn't make the Pro Bowl this year at the outside position. Didn't really have an impact. I mean, he has an impact in games. I'm not going to say he doesn't have an impact. That's ridiculous. But he didn't have the kind of impact. He wasn't the kind of dominant player that we've seen out of Clay Matthews. So how much is the injury? You got to weigh in the balance. But how much is this guy worth? He's one of, I put up a post, we're spending, in terms of cap room, we're spending like $78 million on the offensive side of the ball. We're spending like 47. It's a huge difference on the defensive side of the ball, but the biggest chunk of that is Clay Matthews. I think we need to spend a little more money on our defense is one of the problems I saw. That's what the post was about. The post was about we need to go out and get some defensive players, and if we have to spend a little money on them, we better do it. And Phil's making the point that the Matthews clan don't play for multiple teams. That's cool because he's more than welcome to not play and stay with the Packers and get paid based on his performance at this point. Now, he signed his contract. He got his big money, but he has not been performing up to those totals right now. Robbie's here from Oshkosh. Good to see you, buddy. Used to get up to Oshkosh once in a while. Don't you guys have the air show, right, in Oshkosh? Do you think Clay Matthews is a top 100 linebacker? Certainly not this year. Not even close. He's not going to crack the top 100. Neither is Julius. We'll get Mike Daniels on that list again. We'll get maybe Clinton Dix will probably make that list for the first time. How about this, guys? Keep or angry face to let him go, LaTroy Guion right now. See you, Numrun. Have a good day.
Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go. Numrun, my buddy, says go Pack Go.
Yeah.
Give Numrun a heart right now. We'll get him on in a little bit. One of these days, we'll get Numrun on here. He's pretty cool. And Gary's not crazy about keeping Lacey. Not sure he'll stay. And I agree. You know, I have to agree with you. I cannot disagree with the fact that Eddie Lacy has had his injury issues. This is true. He needs to, you know, it's kind of funny too that, and this goes to that whole, a lot of people want to fire the strength and conditioning coach because of the injuries. But a lot of this, Eddie Lacy had gotten himself in great shape. He had done all this work in the offseason to make sure he was ready. And the first goal of all this training is injury prevention, and then he had this bad injury. So there is definitely risk with Eddie Lacy, but I think this is the thing I'm looking at. I see Eddie Lacy as one of the biggest high-risk, high-reward free agents on the market right now. Now, there are a lot of other teams that may see it that way too, but if he wants to stay a Green Bay Packer and he'll stay in shape, I think you're going to get him for a better deal than you will a lot of other ones. And I'm going to say right now, I'm going to make this comment. This is about the draft. I try not to talk too much about the draft just yet. LB says, guy on 50-50 shot, but okay to keep, okay to let go. Yeah, and I think he's got like his cap hit, $3.61666 million. That's a lot of money. And a lot of people would cut Guion just because the last three numbers of his contract are 666. This says something to some people. And Guion has been, I agree, he's been serviceable, but not great. Now, if we can roll this over $3.5 million into partial payment of Calais Campbell, or maybe going out and getting a Boye or one of these cornerbacks that are available, I think it could be a big-time difference maker. And remember, the reason we kind of feel like we might be able to do that is because we're pretty sure we can get some good guys in the draft. Good morning, Virginia. LB says good morning as well, in case you missed it. You're kind of a favorite around here. How'd you do that? Virginia has a box of Packer Post-its by her desk. I know you guys all have your little Packer things. I've got mine behind my desk. My little helmet, my little family night, I don't know what you call the wavy stick thing. Virginia says, I feel the love. All right, and feel free to put up a heart right now. We're going to give her a thumbs up. I need to be reaching for that thumbs up button more often. There's some great comments coming. And James is asking, James, we just were talking about this. What do you think about Matthews and Rodgers taking pay cuts? That's what we just got done discussing, and we think it might be extremely important. And for the reason I'm mentioning, now I haven't heard anybody else say this, but you guys understand. Okay, thumbs up if you agree, because Ted Thompson he will not use up all our cap space. He just won't do it. So we have to find ways to give a cushion and then have enough money to sign a big-time free agent. That to me says we've got to find a way to restructure Aaron Rodgers' deal in the way that Tom Brady has done. We've got to talk to Clay Matthews about possibly restructuring his deal. We've got to get rid of LaTroy Guion. We've got to get rid of Julius Peppers. We've already gotten rid of Starks and Shields. If we're going to have the kind of money it's going to take to do what Packer Nation thinks Ted Thompson might do this offseason. Thumbs up if you agree. We're going to need a lot of money, or Ted Thompson just is not going to pull the trigger. He will not bankrupt. And here's the thing. When we talk about bankrupt, like, he will not even, I think, scratch the surface or come close to our cap ceiling. I'm afraid that he's gonna want to maintain at least $15 million. And it's conservative, and it's actually financially and fiscally, it's pretty smart. But where are we going to get the money then to sign any big-time free agents? That's the question. I think, how about Dayton Jones? I think we can let Dayton Jones walk. I think somebody on here called him a drafted bust. I mean, I think as a first rounder, that's probably a pretty accurate statement. He's, become a decent player. Now Perry, on the other hand, he was our leading sack man and did it with the club on, but he needs to stay healthy. We have so many players that have these injury question marks right now. We got Eddie Lacy, we got Nick Perry, we got Clay Matthews, we got TJ Lang now, David Bakhtiari, we got Brian Bulaga. And Rodgers agreeing with us, we might need some guys to take some pay cuts. And it's more of a restructuring. You don't necessarily have to lose that much money. That's one thing I think Ted Thompson is savvy about. And that's the thing with LaTroy Guion. The Packers were smart with LaTroy because they kind of covered their tracks a little bit. And they're going to be able, if they let LaTroy go, they're going to be able to recover a lot of that money. And they were smart. It was highly incentivized. And that's a smart move. And that's another reason LaTroy Guion is on kind of my hit list. Did you guys notice the red shirt this morning? I hope you had a good Valentine's Day. I hope you had, whether you were with somebody, by yourself, whatever the situation was, I hope it was a good day for you. Maybe you went out to eat. Maybe you got a box of chocolates. Maybe you had flowers delivered to your place of work. I had all three. I had flowers delivered to my place of work and chocolates. No, that's not the case. And Gary says, definitely keep Hyde. Yes. Hyde is one of, okay, so with that said, who are the guys we cannot afford to let go? I've got, and I've got Eddie Lacy on my list to sign, but I don't have him on my list of we cannot let this guy walk. I've got Nick Perry, I got TJ Lang, I got Jared Cook, and I actually have Micah Hyde on that list because of his versatility. He's not a guy that's going to wow you. And if you look at like his physicals and whatnot, to a lot of people, and this is part of the reason I think if he tests the market, he may not get quite as big an offer as he's expecting. I'm hoping we can sign Micah Hyde before he tests the market. I think we need to get him back. But that's a handful right there. That's a lot of money that's going to have to be spent. And we haven't even started talking about the free agents out there. Okay. I know AJ is my guy at corner. I really would like to see him. I also would love, and again, if we're talking about my ideal scenario, this is kind of how it's wrapping up. The guys we signed, we talked about. The guys we let go, Dayton, Julius, James Starks, Shields already gone. LaTroy Guion, I think, is expendable. Replaceable, not expendable is probably, because you need that guy. Kenny Clark is coming on. And restructure Clay Matthews, restructure Aaron Rodgers, hopefully. Get yourself a little money. And again, this is ideal. I like Poe for the interior D-line from the Chiefs. I think he would be huge. Compare him to LaTroy Guion, and there's no comparison. He can get to he's been getting better, getting to the quarterback. and AJ Aboye or one of there's tons of corners out there. Butler and Butler's restricted, I think, though. I'm not sure. I think the Patriots tend to be a little bit cheap as well, so I'm not sure that Butler is going to stay. AJ Aboye, Tremaine Johnson is another name that would make me very happy if he was wearing green and gold. So we will see. Roger thinks we can use Cook to get somebody better. The only name that comes to mind is Martellus Bennett to me. And other than the blocking side of it, I love Cook. I want to sign Cook back because, and we talked about this. Part of the reason, I know it's a business, but part of the reason I want to sign Jared Cook is because of his heart. And honestly, heart is part and parcel of the game of football and the business. Because look at the kind of heart this team had to go to the NFC Championship with all of those injuries. And I like Cook. Look at, the only guy that's going to be better. I mean, of course, again, if you're thinking maybe the draft, there's a couple really good tight ends that I'm waiting to watch for in the combine that are going to really astound some people. But again, all we're doing is throwing another rookie in. It's going to take him half a year to develop. So I'm for signing Cook, and let's not. Here's the two things. We sign Cook, we can let some other guys take tight ends. And I will say right here on the record, I am not for picking a running back in this draft in the first round. I don't know how many times I've heard this out there. Don't freaking do it. I'm not for picking a running back till round 3. If somebody falls that still looks like they could help us, then yes. But I am not. Everybody is so gaga, and the reason they are is because of Ezekiel Elliott. The Cowboys could have got a stud on defense, and they still would have had Darren McFadden. He would have had 1,000 yards rushing for that offensive line. The Packers do not need to reach for a running back, period. We made Ty Montgomery into a running back, and he was just fine behind our line. We can pick somebody up later on. And so that is my mic drop for the day. Just don't do it. And I hope Thompson is smart enough not to do it. None of these guys are going to be a game changer on our offense. Our offense is fine. So there's my high horse for the day. We need to make our expenditures on the defensive side of the ball. Yes, if somebody falls to us, say in the 3rd round, if we can get one of those great tight ends, or we can pick up, and if one of the running backs makes it, there are several good ones, then fine. But we have to get this defense fixed, and we've seen with all the depth that we brought in at cornerback, we drafted cornerback. Well, one was a safety, but we made them both cornerbacks. We drafted cornerback, Randall round 1, Rollins round 2. We got Gunter in there. We thought we were stacked at cornerback. We ended up decimated at cornerback. So I think we need a veteran in there. I think that's where one of our free agent additions needs to be. And I know this is another reason this offseason is playing into our hands, because I still have no problem if the Packers pick up Desmond King or one of these awesome out of Iowa, or one of these fantastic cornerbacks that this draft has to offer. We saw that we can't have enough good guys at that position. And that cornerback position in a passing league, we've got our safety tandem locked up. If we lock up the cornerback position, we are going to be an unbelievable defense. And Virginia, we had the talk about Randall Cobb. And the thing about Randall Cobb is, he's injured often. He's a lighter guy. I love the guy. He's a perennial Packer person. He's tough as nails. He plays hurt all the time. But how about Geronimo Allison did a pretty good job, and a big, long, high-waisted guy like that has to make you wonder. There's no way I could say I want to see it, but if it happened, I don't know. I think it might be, I think we would survive, number one. I think we would then need to start paying attention to our draft in terms of adding another receiver. I think we had a receiver in this draft anyway, quite possibly. Ted Thompson keeps that hopper full for Aaron Rodgers. It's one of the reasons we've been successful. JB says Cook is a must. All right, so we have talked about who I want to sign, who I want who I think go, and some of these names I hate to see them go too. I hate to see Sam Shields go. LaTroy Guy, I liked his attitude up front. Dayton Jones, I liked. Julius Peppers for sure. I wanted to see Julius Peppers get a Super Bowl ring. We talked about restructuring, and we talked about a couple of spots at free agent. If we can get a veteran corner at free agent, a lockdown corner, and then either an interior lineman or another pass rusher, I think we're in good shape. And then the draft opens wide up at that point. I mean, look at this draft. It's got a lot of edge rushers. It's got a lot of cornerbacks. It's got kind of a sleeper group of wide receivers and a couple fantastic tight ends. There's some running backs in there. If later on, if we shore up, if we do some of this work in free agency, we're a little freer in the draft at that point. And I hope we do some work this offseason. So, well, that is what I had on the docket today. I wanted to talk about my ideal offseason. Of course, there's always the question. Oh, and I did misquote, I'm noticing later, our total cap liabilities. Offense is just under 75,000 and defense are 75 million, 75,000. That's a cheap team. And the defense 48 million. But listen, this is the thing, that discrepancy shows me something. All right, you can thumbs up if you agree. When we're paying the offense, and we know that the big part of that is Aaron Rodgers, of course. But we're paying the offense, it's close to twice as much as we're paying our defense. That tells me a couple things. Number one, we're not willing to go get free agent defensive players that can make a difference. And number two, we're putting in rookies and second-year players and expecting them to play all the way to the Super Bowl. Now, I have nothing against the attitude that, listen, if you're going to be on the field, I don't care what age, I don't care how long you've been around, you have to perform. I have nothing against that. What I'm talking about is our top brass continually having a trend of not being willing to give our defense the help it needs. So hopefully we can get that done. 74 less than, just a shade under 75 million to just barely over 48 million. That's a problem to me. Now, if we were like on the offensive side of the board, if you had just drafted Zeke Elliott and Dak Prescott and your number was down because you have these two studs in major expensive roles and you got them locked up for 4 years on a rookie contract, I don't have a problem with that then. But that's not the case. We've got Clay Matthews who has underperformed and is getting overpaid. If you look at the way he's performing right now, he is making way more money than he should. And the rest of this group, you've got a few veterans. You got Julius Peppers, and he's not overpaid by any means. I mean, I thought we got Julius Peppers for a good deal on him. But the rest of the defense, other than our safety situation, Micah Hyde, it's a ton of youth. We need to add a little bit of veteran depth on the defense, and it's going to cost us a little money. How are we going to get it done? That's the big question. All right, Otis is saying Chandler Jones could be what Reggie White was for Brett, and I agree, but here's the deal. Otis, this is the thing, is I don't think Chandler Jones is going anywhere. Arians made it very clear they were going to sign him, and he said, if we can't come to an agreement, we're going to tag that you-know-what guy. Now, how much he can control that, I don't know. And like you're saying, Otis, I mean, listen, I would have nothing against, all right? Okay, give me a aha right now. Emoji me your thoughts. If you wouldn't be against, I'm going to snuggle up to the camera a little bit, okay? If you wouldn't be against Mike McCarthy getting on the phone, calling Chandler Jones and saying, Chandler, this is God. I want you to be a Green Bay Packer. Would anybody have a problem with that? Give me the happy face, ha if you are okay with McCarthy getting on the phone and pulling a Mike Holmgren. Hey, this is Mike from over in, this is God. And guess what, Chandler? I want you to become a Green Bay Packer. Because then Ted Thompson, we know he's gonna float him a lowball deal, and he has to sign it. You can't argue with God. I mean, come on. So I agree with you. I don't think Otis. I don't think, Otis, that he makes it to the market. He may get to test the market, but I think they keep him. And the reason, and part of that is the reason I think Calais Campbell becomes available is because of what they're willing to pay, what they're willing to pay him. So I have my eye more possibly on Campbell. I like Poe out of Kansas City. I think would be a really welcome addition. Remember the problem we had the problem all year of not getting pressure on the quarterback, but one of the big problems, we got to play Atlanta again. We got to play the Cowboys again. And one of the things we could use, and the 3-4 defense is not known for that. Usually you're going to have to stunt an inside linebacker, whatever, or stunt an outside linebacker or bring an inside linebacker. But if we had Poe, we could get some pressure up the middle. And in Matt Ryan's face, when you get pressure, you can cause him to have an errant throw. And I say errant throw. If you miss by 6 inches, that's an errant throw. It's a drop ball on some of these deep seam routes in particular. So I think this guy could be a difference maker. I got my eye on him a little bit. But Keegan says, if you can get a hold of Mike, I'll give you my buddy from the Chargers number. Absolutely. Well, Mike and I, we talk on a weekly basis. We had to slow it down. It was getting to be a little too much. He just kept picking my brain. And, yeah, right. I'm sure he watches the show every day, especially in the offseason. Brady for commissioner. I would make a great commissioner. I'll tell you why. And you guys can all heart me. It was Valentine's Day yesterday. I will tell you exactly why I would make the best commissioner in football. Because I would weigh every decision for the Green Bay Packers. We would have the Super Bowl in Green Bay, period. I don't care. Don't give me any stupid arguments about infrastructure. The Super Bowl would be in Green Bay. The draft would be in Green Bay. The Pro Bowl would be in Green Bay. And anytime one of our players got fined or put up for suspension lifted. Okay? So I know I've got the support of all of you out there right now. And I would definitely, because frankly, I would do whatever it took to help Green Bay out. And the other thing I would do, the flip side of the coin is, guess what happens if anybody on the Dallas Cowboys or the Seahawks or the Atlanta Falcons came my way with any little maybe performance PED allegations? 12 game suspension, 14 game suspension, 10 game suspension. Of course, the rest of the league, all the other teams probably wouldn't be quite as happy with my reign. I would rule with a green fist. I would rule with a green fist. I'm looking off into space. I'm hoping it makes me, sort of wax poetical. Maybe a little Napoleonic here. That's about all I got, folks. I hope you have a great day. JB, good to see you. Keegan, thanks a lot. It's been fun being with you. We'll be back again Friday. I'm going to probably try, usually Fridays in the off season, we try to make it your show. Just more take comments, questions, listen to what you guys kind of want to see. Packer Nation we're generally speaking, we're kind of all in agreement. And I say generally speaking, there are, we've got the Eddie Lacy debate, right? That we had, Gary and I kind of maybe on opposite sides of that. But to a great extent, Packer Nation wants to see this team spend some money. We want to see them do their work on the defensive side of the ball for the most part, lock up the free agents that we have on the offense. Again, the Eddie Lacy debate coming. But there's very few people who are not against signing TJ Lang and Jared Cook. Eddie Lacy might be the one that's a question mark because of his health issues. However, here's the deal, guys. If we all seem to have this sort of like-mindedness, we're smart football folks. Ted Thompson, why don't you listen? I mean, seriously. The writing's on the wall, dude. It's time to get this defense fixed. We need him. All right, goodbye, everybody. Hope you have a great day. JB, we'll see you around. Virginia, you have a great day. I appreciate it. She gives love to everybody out there. Robbie, thank you so much, and we will talk to all of you guys come Friday. I'm not sure what the topic will be. Hopefully, it will be determined by you. So get your fingers get ready to let your fingers do the walking. Later, Gary. Later, Jerry. Thomas. Thomas says invite Ted Thompson to watch the show. That's the thing. If I ever had to actually deal with one of these guys, I would probably fold. I would probably end up in the fetal position crying is probably what would really happen. No, we're having a great day. All right, Donald, good to see you from Wyowega. Roger, we'll talk to you later. Bye there, John. You guys have a great Wednesday, and I hope you roll comfortably and smoothly on into the end of your week. Have a great day. Go Pack.